Hey, before we jump in, we've got a question for you. Are you ready to put an end to self-sabotage so you can finally feel good enough? Listen, we know what it means to not feel confident, relaxed, and worthy. It means you're probably the one with the foot on the brakes in your own life or business. And if you want to live up to your fullest potential, which we know you do, and if you want to make this your happiest and best year, then you need to update your mindset. It doesn't have to be hard, but you do need to take the leap of faith to get it started. So what I want you to do is sign up for our free masterclass, How to End Perfectionism and Elevate Your Life. Whether you're feeling completely overwhelmed or you're tired of beating yourself up, we'll show you the step-by-step strategies that will turn you into a confident badass. Reserve your spot right now before you forget by going to theelevatedlifeclub.com/masterclass. That's theelevatedlifeclub.com/masterclass. Don't let another moment go by that you don't feel confident in your own skin so that it's easier to create a life you're in love with. All right, let's dive in. One of the most brutal things that Chris and I see when coaching clients is self-sabotage. We're going to share some of the signs that you can look out for so that you don't get stuck in that negative cycle. Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. Okay, raise your hand if you are known for self-sabotaging. Okay, everybody can put their hand down because we know that this is a very common topic. When things are getting really good in your life, you're making progress, you're checking off the to-do list, you're making it towards your goals, you're making bank, you're changing the world, all your dreams are coming true, and then you're like, oh snap, I better screw it up and be the one that can control this situation before somebody else takes this good away from me because maybe I don't deserve it. This is a common narrative we see when coaching our clients, and we wanted to share these 3 signs that you can be on the lookout for so that you don't do this same problem as well.
Yeah, it's golly. I mean, you just came out nailing it. When I see somebody doing this, it's so sad, and we all fall to this. Like there's not always a way to fully come out because some of the things that we learn about ourselves end up developing the way that we see ourselves. And a lot of times we don't re-update that. And so we sort of live based on an older version. And so when we're doing so many good things in our life and we're really making a lot of great strides in every part of the financial part, the relationship part, with our knowledge of our inner self, when we start to do that, the old doesn't match up with what we're currently doing. And so our brain kind of goes, wait, what? This is not matching. And so we need to go back. We were comfortable back there. So the brain starts to lie to us to get us back into this comfort zone. And what we have to do is continuously expand further outside of that.
It totally reminds me of a time when a client hired me as her coach, and she was saying, I want to make more money in my business. So we started walking through all of her programs and what is she doing? And she's like, yeah, I started this monthly membership club and it's got all these new members. It's growing. People are loving it and I'm making money, and I closed it down last month. Well, why? Well, I don't know. I just closed it down. But our goal is to impact the world and make an income. So why would we close down the thing that's actually working? And that's when we discovered that self-sabotage had her acting out of an unconscious way. She didn't even realize, why would we close down a profitable, fun, impactful business? But the problem is in the past, her ego was trying to protect her from her business failing or her not living up to the standards that she's put herself up to.
Oh gosh, this is just it's just blowing me away because I'm just thinking of so many examples of the people that I've seen and how great people are, how just talented people are, and a lot of times they miss it because we are so blind to our own downsides. It's why it's so good to have someone who can always kind of call you on what you're doing. And that way you can say, oh, I am doing that, because self-awareness is tough. You have to practice mindfulness. You have to practice those techniques because it's not what we're typically geared to doing. We're geared to achieve. And so this is going to be one of those problems that comes up on that achievement train, is that you're going to realize that what you've been in the past is not going to be good enough for what you want to be in the future. And sometimes what you've been in the past is not good enough for where you are now. And so coming up on success and coming up on achievement, you have to know that these are going to be massive roadblocks that are going to come. And the first thing that you have to get going is your self-talk. Your self-talk needs to start being immaculate. Because if you are going to beat yourself up with words, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to motivate yourself. It's going to be hard to have energy. It's going to be hard for other people to be excited about you, because when you get in the room, it's going to be like, okay, this guy's the dark cloud. There's no way I can be in here. But inside you have so much to give. You have all these kind of gifts. And so a lot of times you just have to kind of get out of your way for a moment long enough to turn that voice off and be, no. That was the way it used to be. And this is how I want to do things now. So you have to start using descriptive words about yourself now inside your own head that aligns with whatever actions that you're currently taking that you know you need to make.
I know, it's kind of like if your self-talk is, nobody's going to like me, I don't fit in, I'm not cool enough for this group, but you have engaged in, going to a women's conference or whatever, where people are coming together and you want to make new friends and you're looking to expand your circle and find your soul tribe. It is so important that the way that we talk to ourselves shapes the way that we show up in those situations. And I see women time and time again self-sabotage in this particular type of situation because they are so worried about what other people will think of them, when all they really want to do is connect and make new cool friends. And so they're too busy stuck in their head that they are missing what they actually want out of the whole experience.
You reach on something really important, and that is what happens with self-talk is that it's a monologue loop inside our own brains. And so where the focus is only on ourselves and what the reactions of people might be, instead of on the focus of what's interesting about them? What are they doing in their lives? What are they passionate about? What brings them joy? How do they find love? How are they really getting on about this thing? And when you ask people those questions, they don't think about you. They think about the awesomeness it is being in your presence because you take an interest. If we could only realize for a couple of seconds the lack of appreciation that most people feel inside. Because most people are working hard. I mean, even if we can't see it, there's a war going on inside that brain a lot of times, and they're trying to do their best. Most people that you meet, no matter what situation is trying to do their best. And so if you take an interest in them versus thinking, well, they're not going to like these shoes, they're not going to like how I look, I'm a little bit frumpy right now, I kind of got this winter bod, I got this spent the last year at home bod going on. But no one's thinking about that. You're thinking that about them. And instead, when you take that interest and say, hey, I love what you're doing here. Can you tell me more about that? And you show interest in their passions, boom, instant connection, instant friend, instant rapport. It's so much easier to be like that.
Speaking of appreciation, we just want to pause and say thank you for being an amazing elevator, whether you are just listening here and soaking up the wisdom on the podcast or you hang out with us inside the club. We just want to thank you for your support, your presence, really, just us showing up on this podcast and every DM we get that says, thank you for this. I'm in tears. I'm crying with you. We just are so grateful. We were so excited to come back for season 2 after we took a little break, which if you didn't catch that first episode of season 2, it was actually episode number 44, where we share all of our life updates and kind of got you up to speed with what we're doing. And it was during that time that you guys really showed up for us and made us want to come back and serve you even more. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, we love that you are committing to your growth and committing to your whatever it is that you want personally, those big dreams and those goals that you have and you've been wanting to do for a while. It takes a certain level of character. It takes a certain level of a person to show up and to really go after what it is that they want, because it's easy a lot of times to just go ahead and be distracted, to just be entertained and doing that. Thank you. Just from the bottom of our heart, thank you for making a difference. Because what you realize is that when you start to really build yourself up, when you really start to be confident, when you really start to go after what it is that you want, you inspire so many people around you. It's that ripple effect that it really is the whole goal that we have here, is so that someone gets inspired and that inspires someone else. And so in that way, everyone's able to touch so many more people.
We're elevating.
To help their lives. Because, I mean, it's a beautiful place.
I love it. So let's dive into sign number 2. That would be procrastination. Let us know if you're guilty of this, because this comes up with lots of distraction, whether it be social media or your crazy long to-do list, or even making up shit that's not even important, that you put off all the things that you've been saying you want to do, and you don't even understand why you're doing that. Procrastination has a funny way of showing up in your daily life, going after your goals.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we all do is it's when you hear the excuse, the thing to look for here is the excuse. One, are you getting the things done? Are you getting things done in your life that you know you need to do? Just take that mental inventory for a second. Are you really thinking to yourself like, oh my gosh, I've been saying that I would do this for the past 5 years and I still haven't even done it yet.
Yeah, it's that no but.
Yeah, and one of the big things here too that's easy to get into this loop is if you always are trying to add to your to-do list, because then it's easy to be overwhelmed. A lot of times our to-do list isn't prioritized, and so we just see a really long list and our brain goes, no. I mean, a lot of times whenever I open up emails and they're super long.
Mayday.
Yeah, if you have like an email that's super long, or if you see like an extremely thick book, the first thing you think of in your mind is, I'm not doing that.
I'm out.
When I see a long movie, I'm like, that movie is 2 hours and 50 minutes long. I'm done. I'm not in it.
But you know you'll binge watch 3 hours worth of some season of something.
It's true, but our brain just so operate that way. And so we have to have a level of awareness about ourselves so that we can catch ourselves doing this, because everyone doesn't always know what to look out for. The mind is so cunning. It's such this sly fox, and it's always just kind of like, no, I'm going to kind of move a little over here. I'm just going to sidestep this. And you don't notice that you're doing it. You're like, that's not me. That's not my personality. And then you take an inventory and you go, oh my gosh, I have been doing that. I've spent this time doing that.
So, reality check. Take an inventory of where you might have been procrastinating lately, but you've been telling yourself the self-talk story that it's fine, or it'll get done, or maybe later. Take a moment to review your stories that you're telling yourself and make sure your actions are in alignment with what you really want.
Oh my gosh, so now number 3, and I think this is the big cookie. This is the one that's really the symptom of everything else. This is how we see it, even though I think it's a product in a lot of ways of the other two, and that is perfectionism. Perfectionism is such a big sign of self-sabotage, because really perfectionism doesn't have a lot to do with doing something well, even though that's how it looks. And instead it has a lot to do with escaping pain from other people or from ourselves, or maybe the idea that our work is subpar, or that we're not good enough in some way. And so we get this massive bruise. It's almost like when you set yourself up for it, I mean, you can see it coming. You can see the person who was never able to get it done because they're always, I'm just working on this. I'm just going to tinker on this for a little bit longer. I'm just going to delay this thing. And what ends up happening is all of those people that needed whatever it is that they're creating don't get to experience it. They don't get to have that thing in their life. And so this is such a costly mechanism to our lives, because it stops us from shining and just showing up the way that we know that we can, the way that other people are really looking at us. Because once you become a leader in your life, the other people are going to look for you to lead. I mean, I hear so many people like, I can't wait to be a life coach. I can't wait to stand up and serve. But when you say that, people are coming. So you have to be ready. And if perfectionism is going to be there, it's going to stop you from being able to deliver anything to them that would really give them the kind of value that they're seeking.
Perfectionism often comes from having a very critical parent, and it can lead to, not only self-judgment and criticizing yourself, but criticizing your own work. It can stop you from doing all things in your life, whether that mean showing up in a relationship, to even be a partner in a relationship, to go after your goals because you don't feel worthy, or you never ask for, that raise because you don't feel like you deserve it. It's so interesting how perfectionism can start from such a young age and end up impacting and affecting all areas of your life without even being conscious to it. That's the scary part about perfectionism, is that we're so unconscious to it.
Well, yeah, but think about how it sounds too. If you think about how it sounds, when you say, well, I'm a perfectionist, what you want to be saying is, I'm going to do the very best I can do. I want it to be perfect. When I show up with this, I want people to be so wowed that they fan me with leaves. Just carry me on their shoulders and fan me with leaves.
I know. I think what I'm really saying is we're obviously aware that we're perfectionists because we're always like, oh, this is going to be better and I'm not good enough. And everyone on here is like, I know that I'm a perfectionist. So there's a level of awareness of understanding that we operate that way. But what we're unconscious to is the reasons why behind it. And it can start from such a young, early age, like having a critical parent.
Oh gosh, yeah. And it's so true that we fall in love with perfectionism a lot of times because of the secondary gain that we get from it, meaning that even though we know that it kills so much of our life, and when you have an all or nothing attitude, it means that you miss out on a lot of things, because there's a lot of greatness that's in that 80% or 70% range that's going to be really good. And so we miss out on that when we go after only the very, very best. And what happens is when we actually get the best, that perfectionism says, hey, you got this because I was here. You got this because you didn't sleep that many hours. You got this because you worked harder than everybody else. You got this only because of this thing. And so we constantly start to seek it in the future, even though we know that it's expensive. It's expensive to our lives, expensive to the people that care about us. It's costly, because when you're so focused on the attainment of a specific goal for a specific purpose, then you stop concentrating on so many of the other things in your life. You forget to put the energy a lot of times where it matters, which for most people you'll watch, if you're a perfectionist, a lot of times you forget self-care. Because you still burn the midnight oil, you just don't actually do something. And nothing actually comes out of all of the effort and work that you put in.
And we want you to make the most out of all the effort that you're putting into your personal, spiritual, or business growth. So we decided to give you access to one of the number one masterclasses that we have ever created inside the Elevated Life Membership Club. This training literally had the elevators in tears, walking away feeling so liberated, and we thought we cannot keep this from you. So if you want to access and watch this free training to get a taste of what it's like to be inside the Elevated Life Membership Club, you can download this masterclass and the meditations by going to the elevatedlifeclub.com/masterclass.
So which one of these are you? Is self-talk causing you a problem? Is it procrastination? Or is it perfectionism? And if it is perfectionism, join us over in the masterclass. We will teach you how to overcome that. We'll help you with that voice inside your head, and we will also help you end the need for approval from others. This masterclass is so powerful. I cannot wait to serve you there, and see you on the next one.
Peace. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life Podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.